I think, today we're talking about, if you think about fan threads and infrastructure, everybody here lives in a business that's all tied to live moments. And once you lose those, they go away. And it's all the connections with the fans and talking about fan threads and infrastructure. And I think from a panel perspective, a lot of experts here, so I'm gonna be quiet and let them intro themselves, and then we'll get into some questions.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Hello? Yeah, there we go. My name is Dominique Schuster. I am the Director of Marketing, Digital Strategy, and Sales for Cirque du Soleil here in Las Vegas. My background is mostly on the marketing and brand side. I've also done some work on CRM and channel strategy, as well as I've been on the agency side here in Las Vegas. So excited to be here and chat with you guys today.
Good morning, everybody. My name is David Balog. I'm the Director of Strategy and Innovation with the Vegas Golden Knights. Been with the team for 4 years now. Come from a non-sports background. I was most recently a strategy consultant in the financial services industry in New York City. Prior to that, in what feels like ancient history now, I was on an equity trading desk in New York City. But with the Golden Knights, my role as strategy and innovation is really all about the strategy side, more your data, analytics, BI components, and on the innovation side, the technology solutions that kind of pull it all together. So whether that's technology solutions that we're using internally to support our marketing and revenue generation efforts, or the fan-facing ones like our mobile apps, which we have two. One, our official VGK app, and then also our streaming service, Nighttime Plus, which allows fans to watch our games in market from wherever they might be on whatever device they might have. Yeah, excited to discuss the topic with my fellow panelists today.
Yeah. And go Knights.
Go Knights, go.
Everybody,
game
by the way.
Yeah, and a big game tonight. Bill Bailey, I head up the sports and entertainment practice for Satisfi Labs. I was with the NBA for a while, an NBA team in New Orleans, and then this is my second tech company and to be part of, or to be blessed to be part of. By way of intro of us, we do AI-powered agents. We deploy them at sports teams, venues, cities, college campuses, things like that. So that's our core product. We're blessed to have about 75% of pro teams on our platform, and most of the big venues in the US and UK as well.
Great, thanks everybody. So again, the conversation today is fan threads. How do you leverage infrastructure to connect everybody together? So the way we're gonna do this is round robin questions. I'm just gonna throw the question out and let you guys talk about your expertise and what goes on within the company. So first question, what's one thing your organization has implemented in the last 12 to 18 months that improved fan engagement? We can just go right down the line.
Right down the line. Okay, I will start then. I'm gonna caveat this with, my perspective is a little bit different, right? So I'm in live entertainment. We're selling shows, 2 shows a night, 5 days a week. I've got about 20 million seats I have to fill throughout the year. I've got about 2,400 shows. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm coming from today. But we talked about this before, it's one and the same, right? We're all selling a seat, we're all trying to get somebody to come and experience a live performance. So with that, something that we've done in the last 12 to 18 months, here in Vegas, we've seen a lot of change when it comes to sports in general. We look in November, we've got F1, we had Olympics happening, we had the Masters that just happened, Super Bowl, so much has been sort of in this peak moment. And Las Vegas is setting itself up as a destination for sports. You've got Cirque, where you can go, and it's an experience now to be at the pool and watch the game. And with that being said, our perspective has always been, whoever is here, we want you to see a show. We've never really needed to segment our audiences in that way. So one thing that we decided to do this time around was use that momentum of people who were coming to Vegas specifically for sports and design a sports campaign. So our marketing strategy typically uses wide shot content, so you can see the production, the scale, the size of what we have to offer, the spectacle, if you will. But this time we zoomed in. We stripped away the costumes. We had them in practice gear. We were looking at the muscles. We were looking at the really acrobatic elements of our product because we knew that that's what fans in that moment here in Vegas wanted. So it was really about personalization in that way. To do that, we had to use a tool to help us identify those audiences that were sort of incremental to who we typically talk to. So that was something that really worked for us.
So the tool was tech, infrastructure.
On the digital media
on the
side,
digital media side. Okay, great. David, your turn.
Yeah, well, I thought we had our work cut out for us with 45 home games a year with 2,400 events is a different level entirely. But there are two things that I think that we've implemented this year that have really improved the fan experience that were technology enabled. And the first one is we really pride ourselves as a brand on sort of that in-arena performance and the show aspect of that you come to a Vegas Golden Knights game, yeah, you're going to see some hockey, but there's a million other things going on in the arena too. So one of the things we've implemented this year is a couple different ways for fans to get involved in what they're seeing on the ice, whether that's during a TV timeout or during an intermission. So one of the programs we rolled out this year, which was with a partner, the El Cortez Casino, was an on-ice game during intermission where a fan is on the ice shooting a puck at a grid to place their bet effectively for what becomes a roulette wheel on the ice through the in-arena projection. And we give fans the opportunity to text in to place their bet alongside the contestant. And if the puck landed on the color that ended up on the roulette wheel, like the fan won alongside the one fan who was on the ice competing in this event. And that actually drove traffic and redemptions to get your free hat, courtesy of El Cortez Casino down at the casino. And so we've got a couple other different examples of that. We did a big one during Fan Appreciation Night on our final home game, giving everyone in the crowd the opportunity to play a digital scratch and win game for a grand prize that was a chance to come down the ice and get a jersey off of players' backs. And get a photo op and a signed jersey, like literally game worn by that player that night. So ways that we can activate the entire building, and each one of these is driving fan data capture and acquisition to our channels that we utilize post event and continue to nurture those fans that are new to file through our database. So those have been two huge database growth drivers for us. And then the other one that we're particularly proud of this year that we're really bullish on for next season and beyond too is our VGK Pay mobile wallet that we rolled out in our mobile app. So you talk about the infrastructure standpoint, right? Like when fans come to our building, it's a cashless venue. They can swipe their credit card and we get some data off of that. Right? We know what product's moving at what locations and what the volume and the throughput and all of that is. But we don't know that Bill Bailey came to the game and what he's buying. Or as a season ticket member, giving you a way to easily redeem your member discount and earn rewards for your spending that you're doing in the building on a nightly basis. So that was a partnership with IGT Every, who's a partner of ours, and they built our mobile wallet solution. And we're excited about what that could potentially unlock down the road as we get more members on there and potentially look to see if we can do some value exchange with some of our other partners in market, right? We're in a very unique position to have our arena right there on the Las Vegas Strip where you can walk out of our building and go immediately into an MGM property. Like what is, what could we do there? So that's kind of how we're thinking about that. And we sort of set the foundation for that this year and we're excited about where that could go.
Yeah. So two really good examples of infrastructure. So I'm going to bend the question a little bit and go to the infrastructure because when you look at what happens across the sports landscape, tech companies and everything are the infrastructure. Bill's company is the AI infrastructure. Give me an example. So you talk about something that was implemented over the last 12 to 18 months. Is there anything within your customer ecosystem that's a really good use case that people would like to hear about?
Well, it was funny as we were talking about that question that we're in the AI space, right? So what is the one thing you've done in the last 18 to 24 months? We do like 3 things a week because of the way it's evolving so fast. But because if you think about it, we are simply a conversation between a fan and a brand. That's all we are, full stop. If that invokes images of a guest services chatbot to you, great, we do that. But that's not all we do. If it's to help sell more tickets or lead gen or data capture, great, but that's not all we do. So it's if you think about it just as open your arms and let the fan start talking to you, we use AI to do that. We can take them on journeys, we can do all kinds of stuff. So that's at the heart of what we're doing, and then here comes all these new models, and we're using all the latest technologies. And so two things we had to do. One, we're virtually the only, again, we're blessed to be able to say things like this, but we're the only approved vendor in several leagues, because we have to then use those models we've all used every day, but we have to lock them down and have guardrails around them so that we won't talk about things that their brand doesn't really want to talk about. So that was one thing we had to do for sure, and that's helped us put a moat around this market share that we happen to have. The biggest change is certainly as the world goes more agentic, right? So our platform is going through a massive, it has gone through, and we're rolling it out now, a massive change from being kind of a platform to discrete agents. And when you have discrete agents, a guest service agent, a ticketing agent, a fan experience agent, a food and beverage agent, then those are very much managed like humans, right? We give them OKRs, they run campaigns, we can measure those campaigns. You can hire and fire them on certain campaigns. Again, not trying to replace humans, but trying to do things that humans can't do and run alongside. And those campaigns that we're running and our agents should look a lot like the campaigns that the sales staff and the marketing staff are running internally. So that's been a really fun evolution for us, is now be able to measure it more than ever, show dashboards, and really be seen as part of the org and on the org chart. We have some clients that as they spin up a new call center, will say, wait a minute, we're not going to put you afterwards, we're going to put you up first and let you decide what heads we need to put around you, as opposed to in the old days, it was us fitting around different heads. So it's a fun time in this space.
Yeah, that's great. So when you look at it from a Comcast perspective, so we just built and launched the Flyers app, and we're taking a lot of the tech and things we do on the broadcast and media side and injecting that into the app. We rolled out Vert Video for the playoffs and all those, but one of the questions that we continually go back to is like, I've got my infrastructure, I'm starting to do these really cool things, but now the next question, and everybody in here is probably thinking the same thing, it's like, well, I'm going to do infrastructure, I'm going to put all this cool stuff in play. What is the impact on revenue? So I'm going to kick it back to you all and say, was there something in the last, again, 12 to 18 months or whatever it is, where you all leveraged infrastructure or technology or connected the fan thread that had an impact on revenue, and what was that? No pressure.
The answer is yes. Let me find a good example for you. So one thing we talked about was introducing an AI platform that sort of helps streamline our tech stack, if you will. So we're using all of these different systems. We need sort of one place that we can go to be able to see all of the data for a campaign at once. For us, I'm going to go back to this sports campaign. We tried a bunch of different things with it. One of them was maybe people don't want to feel like they have to buy a ticket. We removed all the CTAs, we removed all the logos, and made it just a true visual, trying to give people the idea that they're going to make the decision themselves.
Right.
Fun fact, didn't work. And we saw that very quickly through these dashboards that we had built with this tool.
Right.
And then we were able to see, okay, well, let's add the button really quick. Did that, we could see the uptick in revenue from there. And then we were able just to optimize the creative. And again, it's being able to see that full picture quickly, rather than having to go pull from all of these different platforms and programs to identify the issue.
Well, I mean, I think that's right. It's like you and I were talking backstage, right? And the somebody from Comcast yesterday in another panel was he used the word YOLO.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what is YOLO? Right? You know, being at Comcast, I should probably know what YOLO is, but it's you're only live once. So everything we're talking about here is you miss it, you miss it. So you need to leverage tech and do those things, and that's a really good example, right? If you didn't have real-time capabilities in the infrastructure to do that, you missed the window.
Right.
So now the Golden Knights, very data-driven, very tech-savvy. I'm going to ask you the same question. Anything you've done over the last 12, 18 months or whatever it may be that you leveraged infrastructure and nimbleness to generate additional revenue?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things you talk about that moment, and if you kind of you miss it, it's gone, right? Is for us, it's not just about capitalizing on that moment. So we set up a lot of different automations based on behaviors that we're seeing trigger different journeys, but specifically with the channel strategy too, we've in the last 12 months have married our SMS and email platforms into one, so we can really orchestrate those journeys across different channels and not only hit right fans with the right messaging, but at the right moment and on the right platform, where we're seeing engagement and actually seeing conversion and able to measure that. So I think that's one change there that we made.
Great. So let's move into more AI, because I know everybody here is AI. And like you and I talked about before we came out here, Bill, I think you're a really good use case for how AI drives business, and it's actually doing something versus just being a marketing speaking point or whatever it is. So talk about how, I'm gonna go off the questions that you and I talked about. So how is AI helping connect the fan journey across touch points?
And it also monetizes it as well.
Yeah,
So those are kind of the
sure.
same, they're related. What we work hard on is if we are the conversation, and we take that very seriously between a fan and a brand, as I said before, then we want the conversation to go on at its natural length and not deflect out of that conversation. So we work with a lot of partners. Some in this room, I'll pick on Parkwiz if Sammy's here somewhere. For instance, if someone wants to buy parking ahead of time before the event, then we don't answer by pushing them to Parkwiz's page. We'll put Parkwiz's stuff inside of our conversation. We'll sell it to them, and then we'll keep talking, right? So that's that connected tissue of, if we're going to be the conversation, then we need to pull everything from Ticketmaster and TDC and all the rest into our conversations. Take care of that for that particular fan, and then keep suggesting more things, more revenue, and more journey type stuff. So that's kind of the connected and how we monetize it. And then the biggest monetization is, if you think of it as a conversation, not just a answer questions and deflect, then you're able to start measuring, which we do now with our agents and our campaigns, is how many times someone asked about tickets. And instead of right away selling them tickets, I said, do you want to talk about maybe a 10-game plan before I sell you a ticket? And they say, that's interesting, and I can romance it a bit with AI. And if they do want to talk about it, then I'll go get an agent on that side to live chat with that person and sell it. And someday we'll actually sell it too. But so us upselling basically, and not missing opportunities by trying to be so pedantic with our answers and actually have a conversation like we were sitting next to each other at a bar.
It's great.
Which we've done, I think, before.
So last question on the AI front. So you have a lot of implementations across leagues, teams, all that great stuff. When you look at engaging a potential customer, what's the biggest blocker for implementing your tech? Is it data? Is it integration pain points? Is it we don't know how to execute? I mean, like, what's the biggest stumbling block you see?
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer. The data, if the data is ready, there's some data issues, and if your data is not AI ready, we can help you with that too. But there has to be some readiness, the data, that we can grab it, because we want to grab as much as we can and make those conversations personal and better. It's not so much the tech, it's the execution then. So as we roll out campaigns, if you think again, and I'll say it for the third time, I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but if we're just a conversation between a fan and a brand, then at a place like the Golden Knights, I have a lot of people to talk to. There's a lot of stakeholders, from the building guest experience to the ticket sales team, to the sponsorship team, to the marketing team, and that all benefit from that conversation. So making sure we herd those cats, get the right OKRs, the right measurements, the right agendas from them into this is fun, but that's the execution of that is probably the most difficult right now.
Good. So we've talked about infrastructure, we've talked about success. So now I want y'all to take a step back. When you look at your business and the things you do on the tech side and the things you do within the fan thread, is there a gap? Where's your biggest, I don't want to say pain point, I'll say pain point, but like in what you're doing, where's the biggest gap or the biggest opportunity you see?
For us, it's really in connecting the teams both physically and on a human level, but then in the tech space as well. So if I'm working on something in the digital media space and in the traditional marketing space that isn't talking to what the CRM team is doing, and that's not talking to what the sales team is doing, we're all working towards the same goal, but right then and there, we're starting to bid on the same things. You know what I mean? It becomes this sort of oversaturation of strategy to a single customer. And so especially for us to have 5 shows in one market, that's an issue we face all the time, is how do we not compete with each other, with ourselves? And the lack of tool to be able to see all of the department-wide strategies together, I think is a huge gap.
No, that's great. And that's fair, right? I mean, building infrastructure that talks across platforms and everything is very, very difficult. So yeah, good point. David, your turn.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we're looking towards is really understanding our fans beyond just what how they engage with us, but the sort of psychology or psychographic components of who fans are and what makes them tick. So I think marrying that work with all the data that lives in our environment to then be able to say, okay, you kind of act similar to fans that we've now identified in these different persona buckets. So you're likely to sort of tick the same way. I think part of it too is you've got all this data in different environments and really owning that data platform to be able to start to leverage some more AI tools to get from insights into action faster and really just decrease that time to value as a data-driven organization. I think is another challenge that we're taking head on in the coming year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. It's like if you look at an organization as large as Comcast, that's one of the things I think we struggle with as well, right? It's like what's that data layer? What's that central data layer? How do you put everything together? And putting it together and dashboarding is one thing. Putting it together and executing against it is a completely, other animal, right? So good point.
And to jump in really quick, adding on the layer of what's going on in the world at the moment, right? Because that's going to change how you analyze the data, the economy, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking about that earlier, right? With social, what are you doing in the social space? How are you monitoring that? And probably more importantly, I mean, there's a lot of social monitoring tools and platforms out there. And what I think you're starting to see on the AI side, going back to Bill, is not only are you able to look at what's going on across social, but you can build strategies and actually execute against it, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of those tools are guilty of, we listen, but we don't do anything else. Well, now you're getting to the point where you can listen in action. And that goes back to infrastructure, that goes back to data layer and all those other things. So, all right, we got 4 minutes left. So last question, I'm gonna start with Bill. So for everybody in the room, if there was one thing that they should do to start their journey on the fan thread and fan infrastructure and connecting everything together, what's your one recommendation that everybody here goes out and does?
Call me.
No. I was just gonna say that was like a perfect sales pitch. I set you up completely.
No. Everyone's using AI now in their personal lives mostly, and as your company. So the first thing I always suggest is get comfortable with AI as an organization. Put in don't have an AI roadmap. I think that's very dangerous. There should be a business roadmap, and AI should help that along the way. So whenever I hear there's an AI roadmap, I always get a little shaky with that. But by the same token, as an organization, you should know where AI should fit. You should decide some of the tools that you approve and not let your people go too rogue with stuff. It can be dangerous out there. That's why we exist, is some of the guardrails we can put in. But as you're using it internally, just have a little bit of oversight, but not a roadmap. I mean, there's no need for all that.
Perfect.
And then call me.
Yep. David?
Yeah, I was gonna start in a similar line of thinking is really define what the business needs are first, right? Don't go searching for a technology solution until you identify what the business problem is and really what that's like success criteria looks like if you were to sort of utilize the technology to unlock it and really start there and align We're talking here at a tech conference, but a lot of it starts with the people and the organization and what are we actually trying to solve for, and having a good understanding and grasp of what that looks like first.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
I'm going to build on that. So once you understand what the success of the business looks like, what AI also allows us to do is to try and fail quickly. And so I think sometimes we get too lost in trying to understand exactly what we need, what should we do, and we've already lost time. I would say what's working for us, try, fail quickly, try again, succeed.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. You say fail quickly. We were over at NAB yesterday, and obviously we produce a tremendous amount of content across the Comcast enterprise. And somebody we were talking to, and they're like, we need to stop trying to make the content perfect and get it out there, because fans want content. They don't want perfect content. So it kind of goes back to the fail quickly model. It's like, don't spend so much time perfecting everything and give the fans something they want. And again, that all kind of goes back to infrastructure and strategy and everything you've all done a really good job talking about. So I think that's a great way to end, and we're down to a minute. So we actually did really well. So thank you, everybody, for popping on. This is really, really interesting. I hope you all got something out of it. So thank you.